Hi everybody, it is April and I am in my craft room, and today we are going to supersize a charm square pattern. I really like this pattern. It is a pattern called Color of My Heart Quilt Pattern, and it's from the Fat Quarter Shop. Let me show you the pattern. The finished quilt in this particular instance, if you use 5-inch squares, is 27.5 by 27.5. But I'm going to supersize it and use 10-inch squares instead and see if I can't make it, twice the size. I've chosen my fabrics and they are a purchase from somewhere. I don't know where they came from, but it is a layer cake by Boundless Fabrics, and it looks like a rainbow. And you all know I love rainbows, and just so happens this looks pretty rainbowy too. So I thought, perfect use for this. And then I'm actually going to pillage and plunder another project that I haven't completed because I cut some white on white 10-inch squares for that project. And I'm being lazy. Now, I have figured out that I need 11 10-inch squares in the background fabric. Happens my background fabric is going to be the white on white. I determined that I need 31 10-inch squares in my feature fabric, and this is my feature fabric. It suggests in the pattern that you lay out your heart in the order that you want it. So what I'll do is I'm going to put this on my design wall, and then we'll see what our next step's gonna be. I believe I've changed my mind. I'm pretty confident that I'm not going to change it again. It's my prerogative after all. I am going to use this instead of the white on white. This is Painted Prism by Hoffman. And because all of the 10-inch squares that I'm going to use are a solid color, I need some splash. I've placed all the solid colors that I need. Now, I need my print cut in 10-inch squares, so I'm going to cut 11 10-inch squares out of my print, and then I will be making half square triangles here and here, and then here and here and here, and same on the other side. And then these blank spots will be filled in with the 10-inch squares of this pretty print. So let me go cut my 10-inch squares of this print. Before I cut my 10-inch squares, I'm going to spray these with some Faultless Luxe Finish. Just makes them really smooth and nice to sew. And there are some creases that might interfere with me getting an accurate 10-inch cut. And although I know that my cutting skills are less than stellar, I do try. So I get an A for effort, I think. I am cutting my fabric into 10-inch squares. So the first thing I want to do is line up my fabric and get a straight edge. So I don't want to waste any fabric, but I don't want to miss that there's an edge hiding under here that I haven't included. So I think we're okay. I'm going to use 2 rulers because this ruler is not 10 inches wide. So I want to take my OmniGrid ruler and put it on the 10-inch mark. I could use the lines on my mat as well, but right now I'm just going to use the double ruler method. So I have lined up this 10 inches on the one ruler here, and then I'm going to butt this ruler up against that, put my weight on. So here I've got 10 inches. I can get 4 10-inch squares out of this piece of fabric. Here I have my 10-inch printed block that I am going to use to do a half square triangle, and that forms the actual heart pattern. I have this Creative Grids ruler that is used specifically to help you with your half square triangles. I'm going to flip my printed piece over. I'm going to line up my ruler, so the one point I'm going to put at one end, and then I want to see the point that through the middle of this slit at the other end. So I've lined it up. Now I'm going to take my pen, which is an all erasable marker, and it's by Clover, and I am going to put lines through these center holes. So I will take this along with my solid color and sew a 1/4 inch on each side of that line, and I will be right back to show you how you create your half square triangle. Once you've marked your line, you are going to want to sew on either side of that line at a 1/4 inch. So I'm going to line this line with the edge of my foot. On my printed block, I sewed a 1/4 inch seam on either side. Once I did that, then I could take my rotary cutter and cut right along that center block. And when I do that, I come out with 2 half square triangle blocks. So instead of having to use 2 of these blocks, I only had to use 1. So I saved this one for another project. I put these on my wall. And voila, I have not the bottom of my heart. And voila, I have the bottom of my heart. So I will go ahead and finish up the half square triangles for the rest of these. Actually, I have this one done, so I need to put him up. And once I finish my half square triangles for these 2, then I will be ready to sew all my blocks together to make my rows, and then sew my rows together, and I will have a heart quilt. Be right back. And I almost forgot, when you make half square triangles like this, you are going to have little dog ears that show up on the corners where your seams are. You will want to cut those off so that your block looks nice and neat. So you can see, here is my heart quilt. Now it's not quite as long as I would like for it to be, so I'm going to add borders. And the way that I add borders is I cut the side strips first, then once I've added both sides, I add the top and the bottom. So I have cut 3-inch strips. I start by sewing my 2 strips together so that I have one long strip, because one strip of this fabric is not going to reach from top to bottom of this quilt. Then whatever I have left over from these 2 strips put together after I've sewn the first side, I will add to another full strip and finish the other side. My quilt top is complete. I have this adorable heart and surrounded by polka dots. I will tell you, these half square triangle blocks do not end up being 10-inch blocks. In the actual pattern where you're supposed to use the charm square, it says half square triangle unit should measure 5 inches by 5 inches. My 10 inches, I mean, when you lose that 1/4 inch, it didn't end up being a 10-inch square. So you can either trim all of your blocks to be the same size. I just worked around the issue, and then before I added my borders, I trimmed to straighten all the edges. That's how I chose to do it. I just want to say, there are a million ways to do everything. Whether you choose to press your seams open or to the side, it doesn't ultimately matter. What matters is that you are enjoying quilting. Don't let those people who have strong opinions deter you from this hobby. If you are a new quilter, you will get there. Do what it is you can do with what you've got, and don't worry about what anybody else does. If you haven't even started quilting because you're afraid that you're going to make a mistake, do not let making a mistake stop you from starting. It is very stressful out there, and we need a release. This is mine. And if it's yours or you want it to be yours, then don't let those voices convince you that you have to do it a certain way in order for it to be right. As long as you're happy with your way, it's right. And with that, I will say, have a great day, eat some chocolate, and be kind to everyone. Until next time, bye. So if you have been, wow, that was really, and then I need 31 10-inch patterns of, or, really? Now what it says in the color 10-inch panel, blah, 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 that is blah, 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 blah.